1:15, we're here for review and possible action on secondary road engineer contract. Last week, we handed out the same evaluation form that we used back in April. We had everyone fill them out. They were returned to me. Bruce and I tabulated them. Did an average and scored them. You've all gotten the results of that. I've had a chance to look at them. Bruce and I went out and talked with Paul and shared that information with him. Does the board, any member of the board, have anything they want to address? Paul, do you want to address
I
the
have
board?
a concluding statement, whenever that will be.
Okay.
Prior to the vote.
The only thing I'd comment, we had an evaluation, what, in May or June?
April, I think it was.
And then we had one today, or this month, and it was supposed to be evaluation from that point to this point. So I hope everybody scored that according to the last 6 months, not prior to that. That was the theory anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one that, the other night, Paul, you said the zero didn't count, which would change it by that, number 4 question by .375 is the overall.
Just to get something started here, I gave you one of these, Rick. I made a copy. I sat down and I filled in my sheet. This is my opinion, and you guys don't have to agree with me, but that's what I wrote down for evaluation. I think Paul's done everything that we've asked him to do according to policy. My theory is, Paul'd be in double trouble if he didn't follow policy with us, and if he follows policy, he's double trouble with the farmers. So I think he's in no-win situation. It's my judgment. And when we try to review policy, that's what our job is, to review the policy and have our employees to follow it. And I think Paul's following the policy, in my opinion. We can't micromanage everything as boards and supervisors.
I think you have a good point there.
And we talked about hiring a supervisor or a road foreman or something. But that road foreman's gotta have a boss, and I sure don't wanna be his boss. If we do that, it's gotta be under the board, under the engineer, in my opinion. We can't go out there and tell, that'd be like us being an employee. You can't do that. Somebody's gotta have a boss. In that case, it's gotta be the engineer, in my opinion. I don't think we need a supervisor myself, but I stated my opinion. I'll open up for anybody else.
Well, like I stated to someone earlier, we have not talked about any kind of supervisor position. I just mentioned that with Paul one day when I was talking to him about some of the issues I had concerns with. Having someone who is more aligned in that field rather than an engineer dealing with personnel issues and time schedules. Engineers do engineering. I think that was the conversation I had with Paul a week or so ago. Anything else?
I had conversation, this is off the cuff, but I had conversation with an engineer from another county once, down in Des Moines, and he had the same thing going there. He said he was out telling him what road to grade and this kind of crap, and he got out of there and he says, I went to a different county, I've been happy ever since. I don't think we dare go out and put a hands on telling him how to do everything. And I think that's what got Paul in trouble. We tried to tell him how to do things. That's what we hired him for. We have to trust our employees.
We've told him what to do.
Well, in job description, that's what we've done. That's what the job description tells it out pretty well. As long as you follow that job description, what else can we ask?
I guess my question is then when the phones start ringing, what are we supposed to say? It's not our obligation to take the heat?
I think
Call the engineer?
I think all we have to say, did we follow the policy? And if so, thank you for your call, we'll investigate it.
Well, then we'll figure that out, as quick as you have a 4-year election, then when they get tired of,
That's fine. If we
you
have-
not answering the phone or you avoiding their phone calls, then they'll vote someone else in.
That wouldn't bother me a bit. If we're doing
Well, I
all
guess
right,
if
you'll
that's the
sleep
case,
yourself.
then have at it.
I think we have to have, follow the policy, and if we're following the policy, we either change the policy or support the person making the decision. And we have the right to change the policy. We've brought them to us for review, we've changed some of them. And that always satisfied the phone calls.
I've always, stood behind Paul about following policy. My issues are in a different area. It's, the daily work that goes on within the county. I think it could be more efficient. That's some of my concerns. Like I told Paul, he does a great job on bid projects, box culverts, bridges, paving projects. I'm happy with that, but that's not the entire job. And I think we hear more of the local stuff from the citizens in our county, and that's a very important part of this job.
Did we address that the first evaluation we had? To my knowledge, we didn't. That's something we thought of now. Yeah, I think Paul's made the corrections to everything we told him to do. Did we say anything about that 6 months ago? Maybe we did, I don't remember.
I believe I did when I had my conversation with him.
Could be, I'm just one of the, I don't worry about what people call and say, as long as you're doing what's right. And
No, I can take the heat from the public too,
doesn't bother
Carl.
me.
Well, part of that is, and I'm not to say anything against your ward, Carl, but the majority of your ward is in Humboldt.
I have some rural areas too.
Well, I'm just saying.
We have 2,500 people in the rural areas, so we have to spend money for 100% of the people.
I
So
understand.
25% of the calls can't argue what 100% of the budget goes to.
Well, those 25% ought to be able to be listened to.
That's right, I agree we should. But
And I'm not on a,
I don't
I'm
think
not
we-
on
I don't
a
think we-
crusade to get rid of Paul, believe me.
I know.
As I look at my numbers, I thought, and I told him the other night, I thought I gave him a fair review.
I'm not arguing that a bit, but I just talk about theory-wise. I get so shook when we get phone calls come in complaining, and that's one person's opinion versus 75% we didn't hear from.
And I get kinda shook when I hear you constantly say that we're micromanaging. I don't think that anybody's micromanaging anybody that I know of. I think, that it's our obligation to throw, anything, when someone calls, you field it for
Yeah,
him,
I agree.
get it in front of them,
I agree.
let them
I agree.
analyze it,
That's right.
come back to you with what they've done,
That's right.
what we could do,
That's not
and
my-
how it makes it work.
That's a good idea, that's not micromanaging, that's not going out on...
No, that's what I thought, but I don't think anybody's ever has anybody ever come out and sat over your shoulder and watched? I don't think any of the engineers have had that. I don't think anybody's looking for that.
I think
But when people call and say, hey, what's going on? Okay, all I can do is look for it. I'll see what I can find.
I just spoke my opinion, you guys can do what's
I
right.
spoke mine.
Well, like I said the last time, I'm gonna say it again this time, Paul would make an ideal employee, except you'd have to put him in an office where he didn't talk to any of the public and let him do all the bookwork, the paperwork, and design and all that stuff, he would be ideal. But when it comes to dealing with the public, he tends to piss them off more than satisfy them. That's my opinion.
I worked for the public for probably 35 years before I became a supervisor, and I had these situations before, but the board always supported me. If I had to make changes, I made the changes. I didn't have the school board coming in and talking directly to teachers and tell them how to do it. They had a concern, they'd come to me, and I'd go to the teacher and we'd try to get it corrected. I think that's our job here, to be a policy setter and do what you said, Bruce. We get phone calls griping every day in education. I think we expect them, when we run for office, we gotta expect phone calls. The popularity of the President of the United States has never been over 50%. So we aren't running for a popularity contest.
My concerns aren't popularity. I look at the daily efficiency of the office out there and the staff under him. Those are my concerns. And, I don't believe anybody from this board has ever come out there and told any of the employees what to do. So I don't think we have micromanaging. We might question Paul's decision sometimes, but that's his job and between us and him.
Just for my clarification, what do you mean by day-to-day stuff at the office? I'm just curious.
When I say that, I'm talking the maintenance of the roads, shoulders, signs, what the guys do from day to day. Because our local guys don't do box culverts. They might haul some dirt to them and things like that. They take care of our roads.
So you're saying the maintenance of roads, shoulders, and signs hasn't been good? I'm just curious.
I said it could be more efficient.
Okay.
I haven't said it hasn't been good.
Okay, just clarifying, that's all.
No, our roads are in good shape,
Mhm.
but I think there's other things that we can improve on.
Thank you.
No, I'm not saying our roads aren't in good shape.
No, yeah, I know.
I think one of the things you got the most trouble, it seems like, about ditch cleanout. You know, we have a policy on cleaning out the ditches, and I'm not opposed to cleaning out ditches, but I don't think we have to clean out ditches just to drain somebody's cornfield. And that's what gets us most of trouble. Draining the ditches is supposed to be for the benefit of the road, and I'd say that 99% of our trouble comes from that request. And somebody wants their ditches mowed. Farmers used to mow them themselves, and now they want somebody to do it for them. I've driven through other counties, we got pretty good operation compared to a lot of counties.
Yes, I do believe we do.
Roads and mowing and ditches and so forth. But we can always get better. I'm not saying we're perfect. But I don't think we need to be afraid of a few phone calls complaining. We have to have a backbone to say, we'll do the best we can, we'll investigate it, we'll go from there.
Well, I agree with what everyone has said except Carl. We are the Board of Supervisors. We're elected officials. You know, we represent the people in our districts and in our county. So we want to do our best due diligence in every matter that we deal with to make things better. And I think for various reasons, why we're here today, to see if we can't take some action, move forward. Maybe we have to regroup and redo some of the things. We need to do our job as supervisors. Chasing around policy is not your entire job as a supervisor. I mean, yes, you have to have policies, you have to have protocols, we have the legalities of the office. That's fine, but we're elected, we're tasked with looking out for and doing what's best for the populace of Humboldt County. And I believe that's what this is all about. This overall view, it's not micromanagement, it's doing our job, our due diligence as elected officials, as a Board of Supervisors.
What can we do our job if we don't follow the policy? It's our job to make the policy. You're saying we don't need policies?
No, I'm saying that we don't need to run around and everything is a policy-making thing.
We have
To hide behind policies. We have policies. Perhaps we need to move forward with our policies, if you like to get hung up on those, and do a better job of dealing with the policies.
How would we have a meeting here in the courthouse, a board meeting, if we didn't have policies to follow procedures?
I just said that. I said, yes, I fully appreciate and realize the...
And we have work sessions to change those policies, we don't even show up. So what, you didn't show up one day, you was too busy, you didn't wanna come review the policy, so what do you
I
say we
don't
don't
want
need?
to chase around
You said you
or
come-
hide behind policies. We have enough policies.
Okay,
We have enough policies.
Okay.
We need to deal with them more effectively.
I agree with that.
I mean, no,
But
we
we
have to
need-
have that. We have to have the protocol, we have to have rules, regulations, and stipulations.
And our job is to review those periodically, not just put them in the drawer and do whatever's common sense.
No, we don't.
Use common sense in following the policies. You've gotta have something to base your common sense on.
And we certainly...
Everybody's got a different opinion on whether you clean out the ditch, or whether you mow your ridge bank, or whether you drain the soil
Fine.
field.
Yep.
What policy, what procedure, what set of rules do you have? We have rules when it comes to drainage. We don't come in here and say, we're gonna put a tile here, and we call the lawyers, figure out what the legal got.
But we're still tasked with sorting through all that.
That's
That's
right.
why we're here as a Board of Supervisors.
I agree.
And, yeah, I'm not trying to say that you don't have policies, you don't have rules, procedures, and so on and so forth. That's very important. You have to have that to make all this work.
I can't see anything changing with Paul or Ben or somebody you hire. It's gonna be the same situation 6 months from now. We're not gonna change it.
I don't believe that. I believe we have, you know, the ability, we'll have our own opinions, and that's perfectly fine. That's why there's no dictator in Humboldt County. It's the Board of Supervisors, to kick this back and forth. But I believe it's, you know, overall, something to make things run possibly better than they have been.
I'm sorry, I didn't come in here to dominate this meeting.
No, that's
I laid
fine.
awake thinking about this, like, I hate to ruin somebody's life just because we don't get it. We have an ego trip. So I won't say another word, but you know where I stand from. I didn't sleep much last night because I knew where you particularly were coming from. You ran on the issue of getting rid of Paul when you campaigned. I heard that many times up in your
That's
district.
people's opinion. I don't believe I ran on any one particular issue.
That discussion has nothing to do with what we're doing
Okay,
here.
That's right. It does.
We got a personality conflict here. I don't
That,
mean...
you know, and that happens.
And, okay, Dave?
Getting back, we all evaluated Paul, April.
Yeah.
What was his evaluation score then? Do you remember?
It was, Paul, do you recall, was it 2 point? It was, almost identical, maybe a tenth less or a hundredth less.
Than what it was this time?
Yes.
And the score this time, for all 4 or 5 of us evaluating him, 0 to 5, the score is 2.39.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, I want the roads to the county to remain, you know, I go to these meetings, I shouldn't, a lot of meetings, I hear about other counties that had the internal war. We've had so much cooperation within our county and within our courthouse. I just hate to see a breakdown where we start picking. I hear that other counties gone through this, and we've never had this in the 12 years I've been around until this year. I don't know what we've done different this year, but something's changed. That's what I couldn't sleep about last night. Maybe I've been here too long.
Well, things have changed, Carl. I think the board probably has, more of an open ear than we have had in the past. And, I think the whole, society is listening better to the people out in public. Change is always hard. I sat through a meeting today where we talked about change with businesses in town, and that's what I heard, change is always hard. And just going along the same way you've always gone doesn't mean it's right, or the best way. That's what I look at, and that's the reason I did my evaluation the way I did. There was areas I think we can improve, and I'm always looking for ways to improve. Because we're in charge of spending the taxpayers' dollars. And if we're wasting them, that's not good. Because when we waste them,
I agree with you.
we have to set the tax rate, and then we have to spend the money wisely. And not that we haven't in all areas, but I think there's areas we can do better. And I don't know where the board wants to go from here. That's your decision. I'm the chairman.
Could I say just one thing? Or not?
We really don't have a spot for public comment on the agenda. I can ask the board if they want to.
Well, all I know is I had several phone calls that asked if it was gonna be an open forum so that they could come, and I said, we're not getting into a rock throwing session again. We're here to try to figure out where we're going with Paul, and that was what I told them. And that, I guess, I visited with you about it, and I don't wanna, he said, she said, they've all said, that's my opinion.
I think that's a pretty fair statement. Rock throwing is a nice analogy, but yeah, we don't wanna get into a you-know-whating match of any sort. That's not constructive, you know, and we're looking for constructivity here, to get, like I said, like Rick mentioned, that, you know, we're the supervisors, you know, yeah, we're not the micromanagers, but we are the managers. And we've gotta take a look at the big picture of everything, so. Are you alluding that maybe we just temper or cap public comment at this point?
Well, that was, I mean, I
I mean,
don't,
if you mention that, obviously, we
I
don't
told
see,
a couple of
we
people
don't
that
see,
had called me, so I
a lot of
just
people
asked
here,
Rick.
and I think that's fair. We don't want this to be a riotous affair by any stretch.
And we did get your letter the last April, so we know how you feel, Sue.
Well, I was just gonna comment on, just that I've been here, with the Paul Clevis, and I can tell you that the same people that are complaining to you did not like how he handled things either, because they had foul policies, which, then they need to come to you. But the answer is still gonna be the same, whether it's Paul Clevis, I mean, it's the same 10, it was the same 10 with this fall, and whoever you decide to get in here, or if you decide to get somebody else in here, it's gonna be those same people. It's the same one, every time. I've 25 years of it, I've seen it.
Thank you, Sue.
So back to your question, Dave, on the numbers. If you take that, when we calculated that, question number 4 with the 0, and you add the .375 back in, that brings the number, instead of 239 to 2765 is what the number that I got by calculating. So that puts your number, and I guess that is the number that he would be evaluated on. So, one of the reviews was put a 0 for did not pertain,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the question?
And I'm the guilty one of that 0, because I thought confidential information in that question, I wasn't able to judge that. That's the reason I should've put NA.
That's fine,
Well, we figured it out.
That's the reason I didn't think I was in a position to judge that one, so I just put not applicable. I should've put NA instead of 0.
yeah.
Because I didn't think I had the skills or ability to say whether it's confidential information or not. I should've read the rest of it, yes. I'm the one that put the 0 in there.
I know that form isn't the ideal thing, but that's what we used last April, and that's what we used again, to compare apples to apples.
Is it okay if I ask a question, or no?
The question for clarity?
Yeah.